Picture this. You finally get a raise, or maybe your business has a really good month. You check your bank account and think, okay, this is it. I'm doing well now. And then rent goes up. Your lifestyle quietly expands. A new expense shows up that didn't exist before. A few weeks later, you're right back where you started. Not stressed, but not rich either. And what's unsettling is this. You're making more money than you ever thought you would. Yet somehow, it still doesn't feel like enough. If that sounds uncomfortably familiar, good, because that's exactly what we're talking about today. My name is Jake, and I spend way too much time thinking about why you'll never feel rich. If you're someone who works hard, earns more every year, but still feels financially behind or uneasy about money, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because here's the thing. This isn't a motivation problem. It's not that you're lazy, and it's definitely not because you're bad with money. There's something much deeper going on. Part 1. The lie we're all taught about richness. Look, from a young age, we're taught a very simple equation. More money equals feeling rich. Get a better job, hit 6 figures, buy the house, upgrade the car, and then, finally, you'll relax. But here's what most people don't realize. Feeling rich has almost nothing to do with how much you make. In fact, this is one of the most consistently proven findings in behavioral economics. Let me show you. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. It works like this. Every time your income increases, your expectations increase right along with it. A famous Princeton study found that emotional well-being rises with income, but only up to a point. Beyond roughly $75,000 to $90,000 a year, adjusted for inflation, happiness flatlines. Not drops, not explodes, just stops growing. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but I don't want happiness. I want security. I want freedom. Fair point. But here's where it gets interesting. Part 2. Why even high earners feel broke. According to Federal Reserve data, nearly 1 in 3 Americans earning over $250,000 a year still say they live paycheck to paycheck. Let that sink in. $250,000 incomes. Still stressed. Still anxious. This isn't a spending discipline issue alone. It's a reference point problem. Relative wealth is the real enemy. Human beings don't measure wealth in absolute terms. We measure it relatively. You don't ask, do I have enough? You ask, how am I doing compared to people around me? If your friends upgrade their homes, you feel behind. If your coworkers take nicer vacations, your last trip suddenly feels small. If social media constantly feeds you curated luxury, your real life starts feeling insufficient. Here's the brutal truth. There will always be someone richer than you, no matter how far you climb. And if your definition of rich depends on comparison, you lose by default. Part 3. The math that quietly works against you. Let's talk numbers for a second. Say you earn $80,000 a year. You think, if I made $120,000, I'd be set. But what actually happens? Taxes increase. Housing costs scale up. Lifestyle expenses creep in. That extra $40,000 might turn into $18,000 to $22,000 after tax. Now break that down monthly. That's maybe $1,500 more per month. Sounds nice until your rent goes up $600. You upgrade your car, $450. Subscriptions, convenience spending, better food, better clothes, another $300 plus. And suddenly, you're right back where you started. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's relentless. Here's what most people don't realize. Lifestyle inflation happens automatically. You don't sit down and say, I'd like to inflate my lifestyle. It sneaks in through comfort, convenience, time-saving purchases, small upgrades that feel reasonable in isolation. And because each step feels justified, the end result feels invisible. Part 4. Why feeling rich is actually about control. This is where most financial advice goes wrong. People talk about net worth, income targets, milestones. But when you ask people what feeling rich actually means, they say things like, I don't stress about bills. I don't check my bank account before buying something. I can walk away from a bad job. I have options. Notice something? None of that requires yachts. Feeling rich is about control. Control over your time. Control over your decisions. Control over your reactions to money. And here's the problem. Most people chase income when they should be building margin. Part 5. Margin, the missing variable. Margin is the gap between what you earn and what you need. If you earn $5,000 a month and spend $4,800, you feel poor. If you earn $3,500 a month and spend $2,000, you feel rich. Same society, same economy. Completely different emotional experience. This is why some retirees on modest incomes feel calm, while high-earning professionals feel trapped. Now, you might be thinking, so what? I should just lower my standards forever? No, this isn't about deprivation. It's about intentionally deciding what actually matters. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Most people don't know what they're optimizing for. They just spend upward until stress reappears. Part 6. The psychological traps that keep you chasing. Let's break down a few forces quietly sabotaging you. 1. The arrival fallacy. You think happiness lives at the next milestone, the next raise, the next investment win, the next purchase. But when you arrive, your brain immediately picks a new destination. That's not a failure of discipline. That's biology. 2. Loss aversion. Once your lifestyle increases, losing it feels painful. A study in behavioral finance shows people feel losses twice as strongly as gains. So instead of asking, what do I actually need? You ask, how do I protect what I already have? That fear keeps you locked into higher stress. 3. Identity spending. You don't just buy things for utility. You buy signals. I'm successful. I'm stable. I've made it. And the more your identity gets tied to spending, the harder it becomes to ever feel satisfied. Part 7. A story that explains everything. Let me tell you about two people. Same age, same city. Person A earns $150,000 a year, lives in a luxury apartment, finances a nice car, vacations twice a year. Person B earns $70,000, lives below their means, invests aggressively, has 6 months of expenses saved. Guess who sleeps better? Guess who can quit their job tomorrow? Guess who actually feels rich? Part 8. The redefinition that changes everything. This is where it gets really interesting. The people who feel rich aren't asking, how much can I afford? They're asking, how little do I need to maintain my freedom? That one question flips everything. Suddenly, emergency funds feel powerful. Lower fixed expenses feel luxurious. Flexibility becomes the goal. And wealth stops being a moving target. Part 9. Actionable steps you can apply immediately. Let's make this practical. Step 1. Calculate your freedom number. This is not your net worth goal. It's your monthly survival cost. Rent, food, utilities, insurance, basic transportation. No lifestyle upgrades, just baseline. Once you know that number, you know how expensive your life actually is. Step 2. Build margin before you build lifestyle. Every raise should first increase savings rate, emergency fund, investment contributions. Only after margin increases do you upgrade life. Reverse the order, and stress follows you forever. Step 3. Cap your fixed costs. Fixed costs are dangerous because they follow you. Cars, housing, subscriptions. Cap them intentionally. Variable spending is flexible. Fixed spending is a leash. Step 4. Stop comparing financial lifestyles. You're seeing highlights, not balance sheets. That comparison isn't motivating you. It's quietly poisoning satisfaction. Part 10. The final truth. You'll probably never wake up one day and feel rich. Not because you failed, but because your brain isn't wired that way. But you can feel calm. You can feel in control. You can feel free. And ironically, those are the people who actually become wealthy over time. Look, wealth isn't about winning a comparison game. It's about reducing financial noise until you can think clearly. If this video helped reframe how you see money, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm this content is worth sharing. Subscribe if you want more calm, rational, no-nonsense conversations about money. And remember, you don't need to feel rich. You need to build a life where money stops controlling you.